This conference will now be recorded.
Before the meeting starts.
We're close.
She wanted to catch your compliment. She's got one of those lights, she probably got it in Marshall, so they can go around and kind of like, makes you look
Oh
on.
my God, my father-in-law got a book light for the side of his chair because he can't stand it. And it's so bright. I'm gonna turn it off so you can see it.
Call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we start right out with the village regular board meeting minutes from June 7th. Anybody have any corrections or comments?
Nope, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're approved. Our special board meeting on June 15th, any corrections there?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Electric department promotion. This is Justin Jordan. Would you like to explain that to us or you want me to read?
You can explain or you can read, but he meets all the criteria to be advanced to the next level, which is second class lineman, step 5. He'll have one more step left before he's qualified. He basically just has to mark the year since he's basically got 2 more lineman classes left. So after this.
And Kimball, at that point, he can't do a call out now yet,
Correct.
only after you're journeyman. One more step.
Yeah.
Right, one more step.
One more.
One more.
Okay, any questions? Quiet. A motion to accept the promotion of Justin Jordan.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, the second request from the electric department is for a line foreman. And would you like to speak to that?
Sure. So our current foreman is officially done the 26th, Saturday. We had 2 applicants for the foreman position, both were qualified. And Deputy Mayor Peter Ulrich and myself interviewed both. They both interviewed very strongly. But it was clear that Edgar Blargen was the best choice. That's my recommendation to be foreman.
Any questions?
I'll make the motion to approve that. I move at Google Argent.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. At this point, the motion for the 2 grounds positions, we're going to take that off the agenda for 2 weeks. We'll bring that back. We just need some more time to give that some thought. So that's, do I need to make any kind of a motion for that? Do we have to table it?
Janet, what do you say?
You have a motion to table the,
I'll make the motion to table.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And that brings us down to police department resignation. I think we all know who this is. It's Matthew St. Louis, and pretty much everyone knows why he got done and where he's gone out to Craigwood to be the superintendent of the golf course. It's too bad on our part. We're losing a good policeman that would have been many years with us, but by the same token, you can't stand in the way of someone's happiness for the rest of their life. So we'll wish them all the best, and I'll just take a motion to accept his resignation.
Art?
Yes.
Art, I don't know what the terms of his hiring were, but I know sometimes when we hire somebody and we send them to school and they leave us, we get reimbursed for their schooling.
He's not
Yeah,
going
the
to a
only-
different department.
It would have to be if he went to another police department or a sheriff's department or what have you. But in this case, because he's getting done, the
Okay.
rules don't apply. But thank you for that catch. So all in favor?
Right.
He is retired
With regret.
with regret.
So, sorry, I got a little excited.
And item G is for July 4th fireworks. We've all talked about this. I think we all know what's going on. We now have all the documentation.
Take two.
Take two, that's right. We did address rehearsal. Any questions on the fireworks? Jason, you sure you want them this year?
I'm 100% sure that I want it.
Could you put that in the form of a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is as well. I don't see why we can't put H and I together. This is the village board meeting schedule and the workshop schedule. Any questions there or corrections?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is as well. Anything else to come from our,
No, that is all.
okay. I know, Jackie, thank you. You looked over the warrants. I'm guessing anyone else did have a chance to look in their packet. Any questions there? Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the warrants, affidavit number 21?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes as well. Is there anything else to come up under treasury?
Just that, there was been some material by two different people, actually, that the state has a emergency relief, rental relief fund, that's set up. Anybody who wants the information, I'll be more than happy to forward it to you. It's on a case-by-case situation, but it is rental relief. It can help pay your rent if you were affected by COVID. It can also help pay your electric bills or utility bills if you were affected by COVID. So again, it's on a case-by-case situation, but I'm more than happy to send the information out. And I do intend to send it out with the electric bills this coming month.
Where's this money come from?
New York State. So it's a emergency rental relief program.
Which, based on our emergency meeting, putting in payment plans that could really help a few people out, so.
Absolutely.
Oops. If you want copies of any of that, let us know. Happy to provide it too. Anything else to come from?
Nope.
Okay, in which case, there's any new business to come before the board tonight? Very quiet. Under old business, we have the Lake Placid Marathon and Half Marathon, which is September 12th. I think we conceptually agreed to this. There's been a lot of talk. We haven't officially agreed to it yet. The start is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, on Parkside. And it'll go around the lake as it always does. Then it's going to go down the river road, but when it comes back, it will not come up any higher than where the old IGA is. That's where the turnaround was. And then they'll do extra distance out there, and the finish will now be at Truetraw Park because there is no oval to come back to. And that seemed like the best fit for everything. There will be porta potties for the start. To be honest with you, I'm not sure if the start was here or up here. That both were talked about, but porta potties will have to be brought in, they'll be put on the side, and then they'll be taken out again. But that's all I really know about it at this point. But I think that having talked with Bill Moore, Chief of Police, and he's been in contact with Greg, and I've been in contact with Greg, I think it's all workable. It's just the final details. So at this point, if you've got any questions, great. If not, a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, and then the next item that I have comes from the elementary school. And I'll read this for you. Lake Placid Elementary School would like to do something special to honor the memory of everyone's treasured elementary school teacher. This is Mary Kelly, AKA Mrs. McKelly in Kissing Kelly. We would like to create a book corner at the Lake Placid School Library in memory of her. Many loved reading all kinds of books, but she especially enjoyed reading her beloved children's story to the students at LPES. After retirement, one of Mary's favorite activities was to volunteer her time to reading to the primary students. She would animate them in a way that was all her own, and the children would get so excited when it was story time with her. In between acting out the parts of the stories and narrating them with her thumb microphone, Mary would take time to discuss the stories related to real life and teach the children new vocabulary words. And of course, extra excitement arrived in the classroom when it was time to celebrate someone's birthday. Mrs. Kelly would be sure to tell her magic kiss stories about the frog and then coat her lips with bright red lipstick as she prepared to give the beaming children a magic birthday kiss on their forehead. Mary has touched the lives of countless students throughout the years, and we want to be sure this book corner is extra special to honor the amazing woman she was. We are making a special request to the people who had their hearts and lives touched by Mary, and those of you who are simply reading this and realize what an impacting woman she was. So please help us honor her memory. If you would like to donate a children's book that reminds you of Mrs. Kelly, perhaps a favorite that you remember her reading to you, or maybe a book that you think reflects her gentle, kind, warm spirit, please send the books to the address below. Feel free to write a note inside the front cover indicating why you chose this book, or feel free to just sign your name with love. If it is too hard for you to pick just the right book, please feel free to make a monetary contribution, and that would be used towards the purchase of books and other items to complete the book corner. And then it goes on to say books and memory donations can be sent to Lake Placid Elementary School, attention Mary Kelly Book Corner, and 318 Old Military Road, Lake Placid, New York. Our deepest thanks in advance for your support and help with this special project. And I think it goes without saying that I think most of us knew her and what a special woman she was, and her passing was a sadness to the village, and this is a nice fitting memory for her.
I had one of those red caps on my wedding day. I have a picture of it.
Anybody have anything else to add beside, anybody else get a red kiss?
I have not, I did not get it right this, but she was, when I first started, she was the sweetest, kindest.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it was just,
She will be missed.
yes,
Mhm.
it was a huge. blow.
Especially at hockey games. Go Muffins, go Muffins.
And Oliver hand knitted, the city still has a sweater that she knitted for her for baby shower.
Mhm.
She's a great lady.
So do we want to donate some money?
I don't know, Janet, if we're legally allowed to do that as a village, make donations, are we? The question was asked,
No.
yeah, I didn't think so, okay.
So we encourage everyone else,
That's right.
and all individually donate.
That's correct. I mean, we can certainly support it in any way possible, but a donation would not be constitutionally permissible.
Problem is, we're using other people's taxpayers'
Yeah,
money,
that's
it's not our own. Under commissioner reports, I'm going to start out first. We've talked before about the possibility of a trolley through the county that's designated to go only to the train station and then back up to Main Street to help displace or replace the parking places that we're going to displace. If you remember, it was 7 on the Saranac Avenue, it was 20 in the MBT, and roughly 50 in the big lot coming to 87. And we're trying at the moment to remove the fencing at the train station, and they say that could impact that going from 100 spaces up maybe 150, 170. We've also started ticketing in the big parking lot, and I understand that the construction group across the street is already asking the county about the possibility of a shuttle running. So it sounds like everything is falling in place, because not only do we need to get the construction workers and the people that have been using the big parking lot to move, but we also now need to just replace the parking spaces we're going to displace to keep Kabricki moving off of Main Street for the summer. So as of about an hour ago, we had the call from the county that they can do it. So we're all set there. Let Brad know, who's letting Kabricki know, to start gearing up to keep the projects going that we have. And I just wanted to give you that update that it's all in the works.
Do we have a window?
Beginning when?
July, coming up quick.
Do we have signage? I know Brad talked about those.
Well, I'm going to talk to Roost about that. I haven't gotten that far yet. A lot of stuff came in and I didn't get a chance to circle back this afternoon with other issues. But I think two things that are extremely important about this. One is that if we're lucky enough to be able to build a parking garage in the MBT parking lot, we're going to be displacing about 150 spots while we're working. This is a great proof of concept, whether it works or not, so that if we do decide to do that, we know to run the trolley and it'll help. If we're not able to financially afford a parking garage at MBT, then we're going to have to do something, and maybe the trolley becomes the replacement to a parking garage. Either way, I think it's a great opportunity to solve a current problem and give us proof of concept for wherever we go in the future.
And I've done some research and we'll have something this week for having a monitor there so that the public can come up and see and not have to go on the phone.
We're really, really hoping the county is going to be sending their driver up to do a trial run and make recommendations. And so far, conversations with the county is that from the train station, it would proceed up here, it would stop possibly at the Olympic Arena, the MBT parking lot, and then at the end of Main Street, and then it would loop up and come back down Hillcrest and go back to the train station. And depending on how long that loop takes, we have to, I think, make a decision. Do we say that the dedicated trolley will be there within 15 or 20 minutes, whichever we pick? Or do we pick hours and say it will be there on the hour, 20 after, 40 after, and back on the hour again? We have time to think about that. The big thing we need is to have public buy-in and credibility that this will be on time. And I think it could work either way, but we should have further discussion on that, which way we want to go.
Could we order them and then really want to turn around?
Well, you know, I think you can do a hybrid.
It takes too long.
If between 6 in the morning and 8 or 9, the people that are riding it are the people that are here, maybe we do just do that. And then once we get to the point where maybe what we're doing is bringing shoppers, say at 10, then or workers that have to get up there, then maybe we start. There's nuts and bolts. And I think as we get into this, it's going to take a life of its own. And there was talk about running from 6 to 8, but the county said if we go from 6 to 8 versus 6 to 6, it brings in shift change and it'll really raise the price. So the idea at this point is it will go 6 to 6 for now. And then from 6 until 9:30 at night, the regular trolley route will suffice to get people down to the train
That's going to have
station.
additional stop.
They're working on that too. Like I say,
That's right.
it's not perfect, but it's a good solution. And I just think that the opportunity to possibly shave a year off the construction schedule is too great to pass up.
So we're starting with when is the county, I know you just mentioned it, when is the county?
I believe it's July 1.
No, when are they doing a little test run?
She said it'll be up in the next few days.
Next few days, this week?
Yeah.
And
And I'm
then-
sure nobody wants me to launch back into the work that's being done, but if anyone has any questions there, I mean, it's work on Saranac Avenue, it's work in the MBT lot and the big lot. I think we went through all that in the workshop. Anyone's got any questions on that?
So if they can pay it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next
We
week.
need to.
And the weather forecast.
We need 10 more good days of weather. The problem I've talked to the pavers is that they have $100,000 worth of blacktop coming, and if it's going to rain, they can't let it go to waste. So they can't really pave if it's raining. So there's these trucks coming from Plattsburgh, aren't they?
And they can't cancel.
They're just gonna go somewhere else, so.
Well, no, if what they've done right now is like they were supposed to be starting tonight, they're not because of the threat of rain. They can't be bringing stuff up from Plattsburgh and getting here and finding it and then putting the cartons in the truck, or they have to dump it somewhere. So when there's a threat of rain, they just stop. I think we have one more day with a chance of showers. We'll have to see how that unfolds. And then after that, I think we have 2 or 3 good days of weather. So there's 2 projects that have to get done. One is the second lane from the Raybrook Golf Course over to the Price Chopper. That's one set of blacktoppers. And then the other one, of course, is Saranac Avenue, which is scheduled to be done on the 28th, 29th, 30th.
Oh, yeah.
Are you looking at the weather? Yeah, me too.
Could change.
What happens?
That's a good question because the New York State permit, it expires I don't know what they do if it's dirt and they can't get in there.
I mean, it's this binder coat. I mean, it's 10 inches altogether, so right now they're putting down about 6.
I'm sure we aren't going to want that gravel for the summer just because we had to go an extra day or two, but that will be something we'll get worked out later.
Hope for good weather.
Yeah, nothing easy, really tough job, still far, knock on wood, everyone's still in general being really good about it, everyone's doing the best they can. Any other commissioner reports? Okay. Public comment,
So,
you're our public.
yeah.
I didn't see you in person.
So definitely the work is continuing on Main Street, July and August.
No, the key word there is not on Main Street, it'll be off Main Street. So the permit to work, as we said, will stop in the state right away. All the detours will go away, there'll be no flagging. The streets will be open to two-way traffic just like before. Hillcrest will go back to normal. The only work that'll happen, you probably haven't been privy to this, but the brickwork going up Saranac Avenue on the right-hand side as you're going up, they will take away, as you're looking up the hill from the bottom on the left, there are 7 spots that are worker permits. Those will go away and the road will shift over so that where the right-hand lane going uphill Saranac Avenue will be a temporary sidewalk, which will skirt around the one under construction. And then the 2 lanes will go over. So that's 7 of the parking places we're displacing. Tell me when I'm going too fast. Then we're NBT parking lot only in the bottom. We're going to be digging that up and putting in bioretention, just like we did at 1 Main Street Park. That's 20 spaces.
In July.
That's right. And they're hoping 2.5 weeks that will be done. And then we're doing a ready rock wall over the green wall. So that the green wall, the steel girders holding the green wall up will be gone. And the ready rock will come up and replace it. We went with the ready rock over other options because if we do build a garage, we could take the ready rock out and use it. So the cost of it isn't lost. And if something happens that we can't, I believe it becomes a permanent solution. Have you seen the walls out in Hildenberg?
Yeah.
Those nice cut stone chestnut? That's what we're looking to put in there. And then the third group that's working will be down in the post office parking lot or the big lot. There's 150 spaces there roughly. You're losing about 10 spaces to the work trailers that are there, and they will be staying there. And they need to do the trench lines that carry the surface water into the bioretention. So they say that's about a 3-day job. So if you figure 3 or 4 days, they will take a third of the parking lot, which you can say is 50 spaces. I don't think they'll need all 50, but let's say if we do, they'll go through there and they'll run that trench quickly. It's only 3 feet deep and there's no laterals. It's just put it in, bury it, and patch again. Then they'll take the second third and do the same thing again, another 3 or 4 days. And then when they get down to the very last third, that's where they're going to need to dig up that parking lot, put in the bioretention. That'll be the third of the bioretention.
By the Crown Plaza side.
Which will catch all the water down the road coming down Olympic Drive. And once again, that's going to be the big one. When they get down to that last third, that's going to be 50 spaces. So if you take the 50, the 20, and the 7, that's where you came up to 78, 77, somewhere in there. Oh, plus the 10 from the work trailer. That's where we got the 87. And then our whole idea there is this trolley system that will take the displaced people. Plus, we looked ahead and we saw that we had a problem with the speed skating mobile construction people, the people from inside the arena employees, and the people working on the Northwood Inn on Main Street. So we're hoping to get them enticed to go down to the train station so that by the time our tourists come in, they have a place to park.
Between 6:30 and 7, there's this lined up workers driving into the municipal lot. So these construction workers.
I threw an awful lot at you really quick, but you seem to be keeping up.
Of course, I was shorthand of 12 over years.
And you're, even if after this, you've got questions.
Yeah, so this last part that you mentioned, the Crown Plaza, by the Crown Plaza sign, is that also 3-4 days?
No, that's going to probably be a good month. Yes, if you look at the work schedule, everything really happens between now and the end of July, and parts of it will go into the first week in August. And I think really the only thing that goes into the first 5 days of August is the work in One Main Street Park.
Hopefully the ready rent won't.
That should be in July.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if it leads into there. Peter, help me on this, but with the redesign, we're going to be running that Ready Walk wall further over. And with the redesign at the bottom, when it's done, they're thinking they might pick up 10 spaces. Is that correct?
At least 6, because 3 year and 3 years, the road's in the middle.
Yeah,
So at least, I
I heard the figure 10, but somewhere between 6 and 10. And also, Brad says they have a plan for the workforce or the worker housing, the worker parking on Saranac Avenue, that they might find 2 or 3 more spaces up there. So all of that's really great news.
once it's all put together.
And then you also have to look at this in the big picture. The water line was done first with its laterals because that was the deepest, hardest work. Now they need the bioretention so that when they come back in the fall and start doing surface water lines, they have a place to dump it. So if they didn't have the bioretention done, they'd have to do that first and delay the trench lines. So that's where this really accelerates the program. Plus, it's all work that can be done out of the road, no delays, no flagging, no detours.
We're hoping to get done a half year early.
A full year early. They're talking 2 instead of 3 years. That was the carrot that brought all this about.
So with that kind of taken care of, it would be end of 2022. Is that what you're saying?
We hope.
Yeah. And let's just all keep our fingers crossed, say a prayer that we have a year that it doesn't freeze up until December. You know, keep these guys going as long as we can.
With the trolley, is it just going to be the month of July or August?
We're going to take that month by month, but I'm honest with you, if it works, I'm thinking of taking us right through September and maybe into October. Because we're not going to, even once Kabricki and all our people aren't working and the spots go back, you're still going to have the need to keep the oval, you know, all the other construction workers from taking the spots that tourists should be in. So that's where I say probably going to have to go into September, October. And I don't believe there's any Can-Am hockey this year, is there? Because the ice work.
It's only 1 week.
So that brings us back to the big parking lot. Now, once we get past the middle of October, they can probably bring all the workmen back there. You know, it's been a juggling act to make everything work for everybody.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, but it just occurred to me the other day. In One Main Park, there used to be this like rock with a plaque on it.
It's still there.
It's still there. Okay, it's gonna remain there. Okay. Good. That's the other day. And is there any update on the discussion about the new marijuana law?
We still need to, I think the big problem, Janet, maybe you can speak to that, is we were hoping for Nikon. She asked the question of if we had an update on the marijuana law. I think we can speak to part of that is the dispensaries and selling of it, and that's still a discussion down the road. But as far as where we are in relation to banning smoking on the streets, any input there, or is that just a matter of we still need?
I think that can be done, as you all know, and it has to be non-discriminatory. So there you would have to ban smoking of tobacco, marijuana, vaping in public places. I think that can be done. I think that's what NICOM is saying. I'll just remind the board as far as whether or not you want to the village to have licensed dispensaries or licensed, I don't know what they're calling them, rooms where you can go and use marijuana. That you can opt out, but you have to do that before December 31st. After December 31st, there's no more availability to opt out. If you opt out, you can always opt back in, but if you don't opt out by December 31st, apparently you can't opt out. That's the way the legislation is currently written. Whether that changes or not, I don't know. But that would be a decision the board has to make. Apparently the opting out is subject to a permissive referendum. So if you got the requisite number of residents filing signing a petition for the referendum, you'd have to hold it. But my understanding is the referendum could be held after December 31st, but why press it? I mean, if you're going to
Right.
make a decision, I would say make it sooner rather than later.
And one possibility of having the voters have a vote in this would be at the town election. But my understanding is that has to be arranged at least 2 months in advance. So that clock is ticking too.
Well, just remember that the town election would be for whether the town wants to opt out, not the
Right.
village.
But
Each municipality has its own right to do that.
Right, but the town, if we get an opinion there, does encompass all of the village as well.
But yeah, it could be, yeah, you just don't know. But you have a separate choice to make, separate and distinct from the town.
Which also comes with its own implications depending on what the town does and what we do.
That's correct.
Depending on how they're dealt up. But we do have a little bit of time on that.
But I think with everything else going on, probably shouldn't lose sight of that. Because as you know, October, November will be here quickly.
Jan, one thing I've been meaning to get in touch with you on is when we were at NICOM, we talked to the mayor and some of the trustees from Freeport, and they've already put this law in place. Apparently they've got, what, 90,000 voters, was that right? And it's been through their lawyers. Would it help? He said if we wanted to put you in touch and you could talk to their lawyers, or are you already pretty good on what we need? Or
What law are you talking about? Banning the use in public?
smoking?
Well, that would be fine. No sense reinventing the wheel.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'll make sure you get that contact.
Okay, thank you.
You get it for us and distribute it?
We'll get it. I've got a card from the gentleman that said he put his lawyer in touch with our lawyer. And yeah, as Janet said, this is a big issue and they've already done it. Why redo it? Did I answer that part of the question?
Yeah. The only other thing, this could be for the town, you can let me know if it is. But I've noticed driving around today that with the beach still closed off, people have kind of migrated to other parts around the fence and are still using the beach. Is that a concern at all?
I can't speak for the town, but my understanding is that the Department of Health required them to put the fence where it is, and they're meeting that requirement. But I think if people choose to go and find other areas to get into the water, that's probably what's happening. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I'll ask the town as well.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I don't think you could put a fence around the entire lake.
Right.
I think it's only the beach because that is a spot that normally has a lifeguard. When there are no lifeguards, they don't.
That's subject to the health department authority where the rest of the lake is not. Because that's the permitted area.
New, because I never really remember this going
Oh,
on.
it's because the guy died.
Well,
The day after
wanting it
the
before
ground.
that, but that pushed it over the edge.
Yeah, the health department
I'm
required.
sure Jay would have to. Because even though it's village property, it's managed by the Parks Commission, which would probably be the town. I think my explanation is what I understand.
Yeah, that's all I have for you guys.
Okay, good. We have no other people on besides ourselves and Janet, do we?
There actually is one more item. My apologies, I did not bring this up sooner. We need to set the public hearing and special meeting for
Oh,
next
yeah.
week to
Yeah.
approve the budget.
And we're,
The three of us had talked about having the public hearing on Tuesday, the 29th. It would be the same time we are all already scheduled to meet here for our workshop. So we would have that immediately followed by the special meeting to theoretically approve the budgets. And then that would close out and we'd have our workshop. So if that date and time works for everyone, Janet, do we need to actually have a vote on that or we just set that?
You could just set the dates and times and make sure the publication gets out in a timely fashion. And the budget has to be ready for any member of the public who wants to come and look at it.
It'll be posted on the website by tomorrow.
So does that work for everyone? Everyone is planning to be here anyway.
Jason, you'll be able to make it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to the Catskills on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for
But you're coming back.
I'll be back for Tuesday for the, yeah.
Okay, so I know you have a tight time when school's in session to get here by 3:30, which you'll be able to,
Yeah,
you'll be ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So also caution that if there are any changes to the budget after the public hearing, you don't have much time then to vote, make the changes and vote.
And the other half of that, though, is we don't have final numbers from the county until, every year, it's a,
So it's the last
it's
Last
a
minute
type
thing.
of a walk.
Yeah, and there's definitely been years when we don't have them, but if you don't pass the budget before July 1, then the tentative budget becomes the budget.
She told me I'd have them by next week, so it should be good. There were a lot more grievances this year than normal. So they have some modifications, I think.
Okay. Before we go into executive session for human resources, does anybody have anything else to bring or any questions?
The budget, you want to talk about this during an executive session also?
We good? Okay, so at this point, yeah.
Make a motion to executive session.
All right, sounds good.
Dick Kimball.
Dick Kimball.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Executive session, we go.
This is good.
Good night, Liz.
Good seeing you.
Okay.
Are we off recording?
Nope, thank you for the reminder.